I am Freddie, 35 years old, and successful in ways my parents never imagined possible when I left our family real estate business 8 years ago. The text from my mother declining my housewarming invitation felt like a punch to the gut. "We will skip your housewarming. Your sister just moved too." What they didn't know was that my new place wasn't some apartment. It was a $7 million oceanfront villa being featured on HGTV. If you are watching this from your own dream home, or just dreaming about one, hit that like and subscribe button. Trust me, you will want to see how this story unfolds when they finally saw what they had refused to visit. My story begins in a small coastal town in Massachusetts, where my parents built a modest but respectable real estate business from the ground up. Harrison Properties wasn't anything flashy, just a local agency specializing in vacation homes and small commercial properties. But to my parents, it was everything. Their entire identity was wrapped up in that business. And from the day I was born, they made it clear that Harrison Properties would someday be mine. Growing up, I spent weekends and summers learning the business. By age 12, I could recite property tax rates and zoning regulations better than most adults. My childhood bedroom walls weren't decorated with sports posters, but with real estate certificates my father proudly displayed as I completed various training courses. While other kids played video games, I tagged along on property showings, learning the art of the sale from my father. "One day, all of this will be yours, Freddie," my father would say, sweeping his arm across the modest office with its wood-paneled walls and outdated furniture. "Your grandfather built the foundation. We expanded it, and you will take it to the next level." The problem was, I never asked if that is what I wanted. As I entered high school, I discovered computers and coding. While my father was still using paper contracts and filing cabinets, I was fascinated by the emerging technology transforming industries. I built my first website at 15, a simple online listing platform for our properties. My father reluctantly allowed it, but insisted we maintain the personal touch that had always worked just fine. When college application time came, the tension that had been building finally erupted. I wanted to study computer science at MIT or Stanford. My father had already arranged for me to attend the state university's business program. "Technology is just a fad," he insisted during one particularly heated argument. "Real estate is tangible. It is permanent. People will always need homes. Freddie, they will not always need another app or website." My mother, always the peacekeeper, suggested compromise. I could study business administration with a minor in information systems. It wasn't what I wanted, but at 18, financially dependent and not wanting to break my parents' hearts, I agreed. Throughout college, I secretly took extra computer science courses, staying up late to complete coding projects while maintaining my business studies. I graduated with honors, and my parents threw a huge party at the office with a banner reading, "Welcome to the family business, Freddie." There was even a new business card waiting for me, Frederick Harrison, VP of Operations. The following Monday, I started my official role at Harrison Properties. My father had generously given me my own desk right next to his, where he could monitor everything I did. Any suggestion of modernizing was met with resistance. "We have been successful for 30 years doing things this way," was his constant refrain. "If it is not broke, don't fix it." But it was broken. Our competitors were moving online. Younger clients expected virtual tours and electronic signatures. Our filing cabinets were bursting, and our single administrative assistant was drowning in paperwork. Yet every proposal I made for digital transformation was rejected. Then there was my sister, Angela, 5 years younger, and the apple of my parents' eye. While I challenged and questioned, Angela nodded and agreed. When she joined the company after her business degree, she was given free rein to manage the vacation rental division, however she saw fit. When I pointed out the double standard, my father said, "Angela understands our values. She respects tradition." What broke me wasn't the outdated systems or the favoritism. It was realizing I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. I stopped suggesting innovations. I started dressing like my father, khakis and button-downs instead of jeans. I found myself repeating his phrases to clients. I was losing myself to become the son they wanted. After 3 suffocating years during a particularly cold January, I made my decision while sitting alone in the office late one night. I was inputting rental data into spreadsheets manually, a task that proper software could have automated in minutes, when I realized I couldn't do this for another 30 years. My soul would die long before retirement. The next morning, I handed my father my resignation letter. The office went silent as he read it, his face transitioning from confusion to disbelief to rage. "You are leaving? To do what? Chase some tech fantasy in California," he scoffed, crumpling my carefully written letter. "This is your heritage, Freddie. Your birthright. It is your dream, Dad." "Not mine," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need to find my own path." My mother started crying. Angela looked at me like I had just announced I was joining a cult. But worst was my father's final words as I packed my desk. "If you walk out that door, don't expect any help from us. Not a dime. And don't come crawling back when you fail." I still remember how the cold wind hit my face as I walked to my car, box of personal items in hand. It felt like both an ending and a beginning. I had $10,000 in savings, a computer, and a dream. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to San Francisco. For months after leaving, I called weekly. The conversations were brief and painful. My mother would cry. My father would ask if I would come to my senses yet. I sent birthday gifts and Christmas cards. They sent terse thank you notes, or nothing at all. I was officially the family disappointment, the son who betrayed the legacy. And despite the freedom of pursuing my own dreams, that rejection stung in ways I wasn't prepared for. San Francisco hit me like a tidal wave. The energy, the innovation, the sky-high rent prices, everything was a shock to my system. I had known it would be expensive, but seeing $800 disappear monthly for a shared bedroom in a cramped apartment with 2 other guys was still jarring. The savings I would brought wouldn't last long. Within 2 weeks, I landed an entry-level developer position at a small startup called Innovista that made customer relationship management software. The pay was modest, but the experience was priceless. For the first time, I was surrounded by people who spoke my language, people who got excited about elegant code and efficient algorithms. My boss, Tara, was a 30-something coding genius who had built the company's core platform herself. Unlike my father, when I suggested improvements or spotted inefficiencies, she listened. "Good catch, Freddie. Implement it, and let's see how it performs," became a phrase I heard regularly, nights and weekends. While my roommates hit the bars or dated, I worked on my own project, a property management platform that combined everything I had learned in real estate with my growing tech skills. The irony wasn't lost on me that my first serious coding project was built for the industry I had fled. But I knew the pain points intimately. I understood what small to mid-size agencies needed. 3 months into my San Francisco life, I attended a local hackathon, 48 hours of coding, caffeine, and collaboration. That is where I met Jason Lee, a brilliant UX designer with a background in finance. We were paired randomly but clicked immediately. I showed him my property management concept, and his eyes lit up. "This is genius," he said, scrolling through my rough wireframes. "You are solving real problems here. Have you thought about turning this into a company?" The idea had floated in my mind, but hearing someone else validate it made it suddenly real. 2 weeks later, we registered Realtech Solutions, LLC. We had no funding, no office, and exactly 1 working prototype with more bugs than features. But we had a vision. Our office was my apartment's living room. Our marketing budget was 0. Our first server was a refurbished desktop we bought at a pawn shop. But every evening after our day jobs, and every weekend for months, we built, tested, redesigned, and refined our platform. Those early days were both exhilarating and terrifying. I lived on ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. I took on freelance coding gigs to make rent when my regular paycheck fell short. Some nights I had lie awake, wondering if my father was right, if I had made a catastrophic mistake. The weekly calls home became a special kind of torture. My mother would sigh and say things like, "The Peterson account renewed today would have been your commission." Or my father would get on the line with, "Your cousin Tommy just bought his first house with the money he is making at his father's firm." The subtext was always the same. When are you going to admit failure and come home? During one particularly low moment, after our prototype crashed during a demo with a potential client, I nearly booked a flight home. Jason found me staring at the airline website. "What are you doing?" he asked, placing a coffee on my desk, thinking maybe my dad was right. I admitted, maybe this was all a mistake. Jason closed my laptop. "Your father was wrong. You know how I know? Because this is hard, really hard, and you are still here, still fighting. If it was a mistake, you would have given up weeks ago." That conversation kept me going. The next day, we rebuilt the demo. A week later, we tried again with the client. This time, it worked flawlessly. That December, I sent everyone in my family Christmas gifts, nice ones, purchased with my rapidly dwindling savings. My parents sent back a generic card with their printed names. No personal message. Angela didn't acknowledge her gift at all. But then came January, and with it, our first breakthrough. A mid-sized property management company in Portland saw our platform and wanted to license it for 20 of their agents. The contract wasn't huge, $15,000, but it was validation. Someone believed in our product enough to pay for it. Jason and I celebrated with actual restaurant food, our first non-takeout meal in months. Sitting in that modest Italian bistro, toasting with cheap wine, I felt something I hadn't experienced since leaving home. Certainty I was on the right path. That first client led to referrals. Word spread in the industry that there was finally software designed by someone who understood real estate from the inside. By month 6 of Realtek's existence, we had 5 clients and monthly recurring revenue of $8,000. I called my parents to share the news. My father listened silently, then said, "That is not sustainable. Tech is a bubble. Real estate is forever." He couldn't or wouldn't acknowledge that I was finding success on my own terms. Despite his dismissal, that first year taught me invaluable lessons. I learned that failure isn't fatal, it is feedback. I discovered that living on your own terms comes with a price, but one worth paying. And most importantly, I realized that sometimes the people who should support you most are the least capable of doing so. By the end of our first year, Realtek Solutions had 12 employees, a real office, albeit a tiny one in a co-working space, and our first serious funding, a $500,000 investment from an angel investor who specialized in property tech. We were no longer just surviving, we were beginning to thrive. The 3 years that followed were like riding a rocket. Realtek Solutions didn't just grow, it exploded. Our platform evolved from a simple property management tool to a comprehensive ecosystem for real estate professionals. We added virtual touring capabilities, AI-powered market analysis, and seamless transaction management. What set us apart wasn't just technical innovation, but my insider knowledge of real estate pain points. By year 3, we had expanded to a 50-person team. Our office occupied the entire 14th floor of a sleek building in downtown San Francisco. Monthly recurring revenue had climbed to over $1 million. We were profitable, something rare for startups our age. Then came the watershed moment. Horizon Ventures, one of Silicon Valley's premier venture capital firms, offered us $20 million for a 15% stake. The valuation, $133 million, made headlines in the tech press. TechCrunch ran a profile calling me the prodigal son of PropTech, detailing how I had abandoned my family's traditional real estate business to revolutionize the industry through technology. I sent the article to my parents, no response. Jason and I were now bona fide success stories. We had personal wealth, a thriving company, and industry recognition. I moved from my shared apartment to a luxury condo with views of the bay. I bought a Tesla. I started dating Mia, a brilliant marketing executive who didn't care about my family drama and loved my entrepreneurial spirit. Life was good, but something still felt unresolved. That is when a chance encounter changed everything. At a tech conference after party, I bumped into Taylor Williams, a former high school classmate now working as a producer for HGTV Freddie Harrison. "No way," Taylor exclaimed, giving me a hug. "I just read about you in TechCrunch, from small-town realtor to tech mogul." We caught up over drinks and I shared my journey. Taylor listened intently, occasionally making notes in their phone. "I think you would be perfect for our new show," they said finally. "It is called Dream Properties. We follow successful entrepreneurs as they search for and customize their ultimate homes. Your story is exactly what we are looking for. The full-circle moment of a real estate kid disrupting the industry and then buying an incredible property." The idea was intriguing but felt self-indulgent. Did I really want to broadcast my home purchase on national television? But as Taylor described the concept further, a small, admittedly petty part of me wondered, would my family watch? "I will think about it," I promised. 2 weeks later, I called Taylor and agreed. Within a month, I was meeting with HGTV producers, signing contracts, and beginning the house hunting process with cameras, following my every move. The search led me through dozens of luxury properties across California. Modernist mansions in Hollywood Hills, sprawling estates in Napa Valley, urban penthouses in downtown LA. But nothing felt right until we visited a property in Malibu. The moment I stepped onto the grounds, I knew. Perched on a bluff overlooking the Pacific, the 6,000-square-foot villa was a masterpiece of modern architecture. 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the ocean, an infinity pool that seemed to merge with the horizon, a private path leading to a secluded beach, and most impressive, a glass-walled office with panoramic views where I could build the future of real tech. The price tag, $7 million, was steep. But after our latest funding round and several years of success, it was within reach. With the cameras rolling, I made an offer. After some negotiation captured for dramatic effect, it was accepted. What followed was 3 months of intensive renovations, all documented by the HGTV crew. I invested another $1 million, customizing every detail from a state-of-the-art smart home system to a wine cellar stocked with vintages from the year I was born. The home theater was equipped with the latest technology. The chef's kitchen featured appliances that professional restaurants would envy. Throughout the renovation process, the producers encouraged me to share my background story. Sitting in half-finished rooms, I opened up about leaving the family business, the painful estrangement, and my journey to success. Those interview segments were vulnerable and raw, but also cathartic. For the first time, I articulated exactly why I had left, and how that decision, though painful, had been necessary for my growth. As the villa neared completion, I felt a growing excitement tinged with melancholy. This incredible home represented everything I had achieved. Yet the people who had known me longest wouldn't be there to see it. Despite our differences, some childish part of me still wanted their approval, their acknowledgement that I had made something of myself. The final reveal day arrived. Walking through the completed villa with the HGTV host, seeing my vision realized in every perfect detail, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The cameras captured my genuine awe as I took in the finished spaces from the sun-drenched living room to the primary suite with its private terrace overlooking the ocean. Standing on the main deck at sunset watching waves crash against the shore below, I made a decision. It was time to extend an olive branch. The villa's completion would coincide with the HGTV episode's premiere. I would host a housewarming party and invite my family. Perhaps seeing my success firsthand would finally bridge the gap between us. That night, alone in my new home, I drafted the invitations. The HGTV premiere would air in 2 months. The party would be the following weekend. It was time to come full circle to show my family that different paths could still lead to success, even if it wasn't the success they had envisioned for me. Planning a housewarming party that would double as a viewing party for my HGTV debut should have been purely joyful. Instead, I found myself obsessing over one aspect, the invitation to my family. After 8 years of strained phone calls and unanswered messages, would they finally show up for me? I decided a formal invitation wouldn't suffice. This required a personal touch, so on a Tuesday morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my childhood home, knowing both my parents would be there before heading to the office. My mother answered on the 4th ring, Harrison residence. "Mom, it is Freddie." A pause. "Freddie, is everything all right? You never call this early." The concern in her voice was only for potential emergencies, not genuine interest in my well-being. Still, I pushed forward. "Everything's great, actually. That is why I am calling. I wanted to personally invite you, Dad and Angela, to my housewarming party. It is in 3 weeks, Saturday the 24th housewarming. You bought a place? Yes, and it is special to me. I would really like you all to be there. I can arrange transportation, accommodation, whatever you need." Another long pause. "Your father's just come in. Let me put him on speaker." I heard rustling. Then my father's gruff voice. "Freddie, what is this about a house?" I took a deep breath. "Dad, I have purchased a home in California, and I am having a housewarming party. It would mean a lot to me if you, Mom, and Angela could come." "California real estate is overpriced," he replied immediately. "You are throwing good money after bad. Renting would be smarter, typical. Not congratulations, not interest, just criticism." "It is an investment in my future," I said, trying to keep frustration from my voice, "and there is something else. The house is being featured on HGTV, on a show called Dream Properties. The episode will premiere that same weekend, HGTV." My mother sounded genuinely surprised. "Like the television channel?" "Yes, they have been documenting the purchase and renovation. The party will also celebrate the episode's premiere." My father scoffed. "So this is about showing off, getting your 15 minutes of fame." The accusation stung, especially since a small part of me knew there was some truth to it. Did I want to showcase my success? Yes. Did I want my family to see what I had built without them? Absolutely. But it was more than that. "It is about sharing an important milestone with my family," I said, keeping my voice level. "I thought you might be proud." "Proud of what?" "That our son abandoned the family business to play with computers, and now wants to parade around on television." His voice had that dismissive tone I remembered all too well. "Robert," my mother interjected, "let's not do this then. To me, we will discuss it and let you know, Freddie. Send us the details." It wasn't the enthusiastic acceptance I had hoped for, but it wasn't an outright rejection either. I emailed them all the information that afternoon: flight options, hotel recommendations, the party schedule. Then I waited. For a week, I heard nothing. I threw myself into party planning, trying not to obsess over their silence. The guest list grew to 150 people: business partners, investors, friends, industry influencers, and the HGTV production team. I hired a renowned event planner, arranged for a celebrity chef to cater, and organized transportation to shuttle guests from Los Angeles. Every detail was perfect, except the gaping hole where my family should be. Finally, 9 days after our call, my phone buzzed with a text message from my mother. "We will skip your housewarming. Your sister just moved too." I stared at those words, feeling them hit like physical blows. Not only were they not coming, but the reason was that my sister, always the favored child, had also moved. The implication was clear. Her move was more important, more worthy of their attention and celebration. I called immediately, but the call went to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Same result. Finally, that evening, my sister called back. "Freddie, don't be upset with Mom and Dad," Angela began without preamble. "They have been helping me move all week." "Where did you move to?" I asked, trying to keep the bitterness from my voice. "I bought a condo downtown, just 3 blocks from the office. Dad helped with the down payment as a surprise. We have been painting and moving furniture every night after work. They are exhausted, of course." Angela stays in the fold, buys property near the family business, and receives not just their presence but financial support. Meanwhile, I get a text message decline. Congratulations, I managed. But the party is still 3 weeks away. They could recover from painting by then. Angela sighed. You know how they are, Freddie. Dad's still hurt that you left. And now this television show thing. He thinks you are doing it to spite him, to show up the family business. It has nothing to do with spite, I said. Though again, there was that small voice inside, acknowledging that validation was at least part of my motivation. Well, he sees it differently, and honestly, flying across the country for a party seems excessive. It is just a house. Just a house, if only she knew. Right, I said flatly. Just a house. After hanging up, I texted my mother back a simple, "That is okay." But it wasn't okay. It was the final confirmation of what I had known but hadn't fully accepted. In my family's eyes, I would always be the deserter, the one who chose a different path, and no amount of success would change that. That night, sitting on my deck overlooking the Pacific, I made another decision. If my family couldn't celebrate this milestone with me, I would surround myself with people who valued my journey. I called my event planner. The guest list, I want to expand it. Let's add more industry leaders, tech journalists, influencers. Let's make this not just a housewarming, but a networking event that people talk about for months. Are you sure? We are already at 150 guests. I am sure. And one more thing. Let's make sure the HGTV team has complete access. Every moment, every room. I want the full experience documented. Was it petty, perhaps? But it was also strategic. My family had chosen to dismiss my achievement. Fine. I would transform it into something bigger. An event that would advance my business, expand my network, and yes, generate the kind of publicity that might eventually reach them anyway. The invitations went out the next day. The RSVPs flooded in immediately. What had started as a personal celebration was evolving into something more significant. A statement about who I had become and the world I now inhabited. As the party approached, I channeled my disappointment into meticulous planning. Every detail was considered, from the specialty cocktails named after Realtek features to the custom playlist blending classical music with contemporary beats. If my family wouldn't be there to witness my success, the rest of the world certainly would. The text from my mother remained unanswered in my phone, a digital reminder of the chasm between us. But rather than let it diminish my accomplishment, I used it as fuel. The party would go on. The celebration would happen, and it would be spectacular, with or without the Harrisons. The morning of the housewarming dawned with perfect Malibu weather, 75 degrees, clear blue skies, and just enough breeze off the ocean to keep the heat comfortable. Standing on my deck, watching the waves crash against the shore below, I felt a complex mix of emotions, pride in what I had created, excitement for the event ahead, and a lingering sadness that my family had chosen not to share this moment. But I didn't have time to dwell on their absence. By 9 a.m., my villa was transformed into a hive of activity. The event team arrived, first 20 professionals in matching black outfits, who moved through the space with practiced efficiency. Tables appeared on the expansive deck. A temporary bar was constructed in the garden. Floral arrangements bursting with native California blooms were positioned throughout the house. The catering team followed, led by Chef Marcus, whose restaurant had recently earned its second Michelin star. He walked the property with me, discussing how each food station would highlight different aspects of the house. Seafood, raw bar by the infinity pool, craft cocktails in the living room, dessert display in the wine cellar. Each culinary offering was designed to complement the architectural features and views. By noon, the HGTV production crew arrived, setting up additional lighting and camera positions to capture the event for the final segment of my episode. The producer, Vanessa, pulled me aside for a pre-party interview. "So, Freddie," she began once the cameras were rolling, "you are hours away from revealing this incredible home to your guests. How are you feeling?" I offered my media-trained smile. excited, grateful. This home represents not just personal achievement, but the culmination of a vision I have had since leaving my family's business 8 years ago. Speaking of family, Vanessa continued, "Will your parents be joining today? You mentioned their real estate background was both inspiration and challenge for you." The question was expected, but still stung. Unfortunately not. They had prior commitments, a diplomatic answer that hid the truth. Vanessa nodded sympathetically. "Their loss, this place is spectacular. Let's walk through one more time and highlight your favorite features for the viewers." The next hour was spent showcasing the villa in its party-ready state. I led Vanessa through each meticulously designed space. The great room with its 20-foot ceilings and wall of windows framing the Pacific. The chef's kitchen with custom cabinets and countertops imported from Italy. The primary suite with its private terrace and bathroom larger than my first San Francisco apartment. We toured the home theater with seating for 15. The wine cellar stocked with rare vintages, the 6-car garage housing. My growing collection of vehicles, including the Tesla, that was my first major purchase, and the vintage Porsche I had recently added. The piece de resistance was my office, a glass cube perched on the edge of the property, offering 270-degree views of the coastline. Here I designed the perfect work environment, ergonomic furniture, state-of-the-art technology, and enough inspirational vista to fuel endless innovation. "This is where the magic happens," I told Vanessa, "where real tech continues to evolve." By 4 p.m., the transformation was complete. Every corner of the $7 million property gleamed with possibility. Staff stood at attention, waiting for the first guests. Security personnel positioned themselves discreetly at the entrances. Even the weather seemed to cooperate, with the afternoon sun casting a golden glow over everything it touched. At 4:30, the first shuttle arrived from Los Angeles, and the party began in earnest. Guests streamed in, their expressions of awe providing instant validation. Tech CEOs I had previously met only in boardrooms. Venture capitalists who had funded my competitors. Celebrities whose names I had only read in magazines. All were now wandering through my home, drinking my champagne, admiring my view. Jason arrived with his wife, giving me a bear hug before taking in the scene. "You have outdone yourself, partner. This is insane." "Good insane. Or Freddie's lost his mind insane?" I asked. "Only half joking. The best kind of insane," he assured me. "The kind that makes people want to be in your orbit by 6 p.m. The party was in full swing. 170 guests, 20 more than planned, filled the property. The noise level rose as alcohol flowed and connections were made. Business cards exchanged, deals discussed by the fire pit. Selfies taken against the sunset backdrop, instantly uploaded to Instagram and Twitter, with hashtags like Dream Properties and Real Tech Founder. At 7:30, I clinked a glass for attention and welcomed everyone officially. Standing on the steps leading to the pool deck, with the ocean behind me and camera lights illuminating my face, I felt a momentary surrealism. This was my life now, so far from the small-town real estate office, where I had expected to spend my days. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate not just this beautiful home, but the journey it represents," I began. 8 years ago, I left behind everything familiar to pursue a vision many thought was foolish. Today, Real Tech Solutions serves over 10,000 real estate professionals nationwide. We have raised $40 million in venture capital, and apparently I gestured to the HGTV cameras we make for decent television. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Tonight isn't just about showing off this incredible property. It is about celebrating the power of following your own path, even when that path leads you away from what others expect of you. It is about building something meaningful, whether that is a company, a home, or a life on your own terms. The applause was gratifying. But as I looked out at the crowd of mostly strangers and few true friends, I felt a hollow spot that success alone couldn't fill. These people were here for the spectacle, the networking, the story they could tell later. Most didn't know me beyond headlines and balance sheets. At 8 p.m., the screening began. Guests gathered in the home theater, and spilled into the great room where additional screens had been set up. For the first time, we all watched the completed Dream Properties episode, chronicling my house hunt, purchase, and renovation. Seeing my story packaged for television consumption was bizarre. The narrative was simplified, dramatized for entertainment value. The producers had emphasized the tech wonderkind returns to real estate roots angle, playing up the irony of my career path. They had included segments from my interviews discussing leaving the family business, though they had edited out the more painful details. The climax was the final reveal of the completed villa, captured with sweeping drone shots showing its position on the cliffs above the Pacific. The camera panned through rooms, now filled with party guests, then cut to my reaction as I first saw the finished space. "This is beyond my wildest dreams television," me said. Emotion evident in my voice, from a small desk in my father's office to this. "It is surreal." As the credits rolled, guests applauded enthusiastically. Compliments flowed as freely as the premium spirits. My phone began buzzing with notifications as friends who couldn't attend watched the premiere live and sent messages of congratulations. The party continued well past midnight, evolving as the evening progressed. Some guests departed. Others arrived fashionably late. The energy shifted from formal networking to more relaxed celebration. A well-known DJ, who happened to be among the guests, took over the music, transforming my deck into an impromptu dance floor. Throughout it all, I played the perfect host introducing connections, ensuring glasses stayed full, sharing the story of specific design features. But part of me remained detached, observing the spectacle with a strange melancholy. This massive celebration, this beautiful home, this documented success, none of it had been enough to bridge the gap with my family. As the last guest departed around 2 a.m., I found myself alone on the deck, still in my tailored suit, but with the tie loosened and a neat bourbon in hand. The party had been, by any objective measure, a phenomenal success. Social media was already buzzing. Business connections had been solidified. The HGTV producer had mentioned the possibility of follow-up features. Yet, sitting there watching moonlight shimmer on the Pacific, I couldn't help but wonder, if achievement at this level didn't heal the family rift, what would? Or was it time to accept that some bridges remain broken, regardless of how high you climb, or how magnificent the view becomes from the other side? I finished my drink and went inside, leaving party debris for the cleaning crew scheduled for morning. In my cavernous bedroom, I set my phone on the nightstand, noticing there were no messages from Massachusetts, no congratulations, no acknowledgement, just silence, louder than the waves crashing below. The weeks following the housewarming party brought a whirlwind of attention I hadn't fully anticipated. My episode of Dream Properties wasn't just a one-time broadcast. HGTV ran it repeatedly in their rotation. The network's social media accounts shared clips, featuring my villa's most impressive features. Design blogs wrote about the architectural elements. Business publications used my story as a case study in entrepreneurial success. Realtek's website traffic doubled. Investment inquiries flooded in. I received speaking invitations from tech conferences and real estate summits alike. The publicity translated to tangible business growth. Our user base expanded 15% in just 1 month. Jason was ecstatic. "This is better than paying for advertising," he said during our weekly strategy meeting. "We are getting industry credibility and public visibility simultaneously." I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. Despite the professional benefits, there was still radio silence from my family. No calls, no texts, not even an email acknowledging they had seen the show. I tried to focus on the positive outcomes, but their continued absence gnawed at me. Then, 4 weeks after the premiere, everything changed with a single phone call. I was in my glass-walled office, on a video conference with potential investors, when my assistant interrupted with an urgent message. "Your sister Angela is calling," she says. "It is important." I excused myself from the meeting and took the call, heart racing with concern. Angela rarely contacted me, and never during business hours. "Angela, is everything okay? Is it Mom or Dad?" "They are fine," she replied, her voice carrying an unfamiliar tone, something between awe and irritation. "Everyone's fine. We saw your show, Freddie." A moment of silence stretched between us. "Oh," I finally managed. "When?" "Last night. Mom and I were flipping channels, and there you were, in that palace on the ocean." I waited, unsure how to respond. "Why didn't you tell us it was that kind of house?" she continued, accusation creeping into her voice. $7 million, Freddie. A wine cellar worth more than my condo. An infinity pool overlooking a private beach. You let us think you bought some regular place." The irony wasn't lost on me. I had explicitly mentioned the HGTV feature when inviting them. They could have easily researched the show, or simply asked questions if they were curious. Instead, they dismissed the entire thing as unimportant. "I invited you to see it firsthand," I reminded her gently. "You all declined." Another silence. "Dad's in shock," she finally said. "He keeps replaying the episode on DVR, pausing on the views in the garage with all your cars. Mom cried when they showed your office with the ocean backdrop. I could picture them in their modest living room, watching my California life unfold on their aging television. The contrast must have been jarring." "Are they angry?" I asked. "Not exactly." Angela sounded thoughtful more. "I don't know," confused, regretful. "Dad keeps saying, I had no idea he would be this successful. As if your type of success wasn't real until he saw it on television." That stung, but didn't surprise me. My father had always valued tangible assets, buildings, properties, physical spaces. The digital world of my company had seemed ephemeral to him, not real success like owning property. Now, ironically, my property had finally made my success legitimate in his eyes. "And you?" I asked. "How do you feel about it?" A pause. "Honestly, a mix of things. Impressed. A little jealous. Sad that we have missed so much of your life." It was the most genuine conversation Angela and I had shared in years. "I have missed you all too," I admitted. "That is why I wanted you at Housewarming." "Well," she said, her voice lighter now, "they definitely want to see it now. Mom's already looking at flights. Dad's pretending he is not interested, but he asked me 3 times if I thought you would still want them to visit." My heart did a strange flip. After years of rejection, they were suddenly eager to connect because of a house. Not my company's success, not my personal growth, but because HGTV had validated me with a national broadcast. I felt a complex tangle of emotions. Vindication, bitterness, hope, weariness. Part of me wanted to reject them as they had rejected me. Another part desperately wanted reconciliation, even if it came through shallow means. "They can visit any time," I said finally. The floodgates opened after that call. Within hours, my phone exploded with messages. First came my mother. "Your home is beautiful, Freddie. We had no idea. Are you sure we can visit? We don't want to impose." Then cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. "Saw you on HGTV. So proud to be related. Can we get a tour sometime?" Former colleagues from Harrison Properties. "Always knew you would make it big. Remember when you fixed the office computer that time?" Even my father eventually texted. "Impressive property. Good investment in that location. Still think California taxes are robbery, but you have done well, son." It was the closest thing to approval he had offered in 8 years. The calls continued for days. Childhood friends, distant relatives, my high school economics teacher. People who had ignored my career achievements were suddenly fascinated by my real estate purchase. The villa had made me accessible, understandable, in a way that tech entrepreneurship hadn't. The most surprising call came from my father's older brother, Uncle Thomas, who had retired from his own successful accounting firm years earlier. "Freddie, my boy Thomas Harrison here." "Uncle Thomas, this is unexpected." "Well, when my favorite nephew becomes a television star, I have to call, don't I?" He chuckled warmly. "Listen, Your aunt and I watched your show, magnificent place. But that is not why I am calling. No? Number. I am calling because I saw something in that show that reminded me of myself at your age. That determined look, when you were explaining your vision for the property. Your father had it too once upon a time before he became so set in his ways. I was silent, absorbing his words. Your father and I haven't always seen eye to eye on business matters, he continued. He is more traditional, risk-averse. When you left, he took it personally as rejection of everything he built. But watching you on that program, I could see you built something remarkable too. Just differently. Thank you, I said, genuinely moved. That means a lot. I told your father the same thing last night. Said he should be damned proud of you. Traditional path or not, I think it landed somewhat. He is stubborn, but he is not blind. After we hung up, I sat in my office watching the sunset, contemplating how a single television episode had accomplished what years of business success had not. My family wasn't suddenly perfect, the hurt hadn't magically disappeared, but a door had opened when I had thought permanently closed. The next morning, my mother called again. We have booked flights for next month if that works for you. Your father says he wants to see this place for himself. To make sure the cameras didn't exaggerate, I laughed the first genuine laugh we had shared in years. The cameras actually don't do it justice, you will see. And Freddie, her voice softened, we are proud of you. We should have said that long ago. Those words, so simple, so long awaited, hit me harder than I expected. My eyes burned with sudden tears as I looked out at the endless horizon from my dream home. Thanks, Mom, I managed. That means everything. As I hung up, I realized the true value of my $7 million villa wasn't in its spectacular views or luxury amenities. Its worth lay in its power to build a bridge back to the family I had left behind. A bridge I wasn't sure could ever be rebuilt. Sometimes the things we acquire for the wrong reasons end up serving the right purpose after all. When my parents' visit was confirmed, my first instinct was to plan an elaborate welcome, personal chef champagne toasts, the full luxury experience. But as the date approached, I recognized this impulse for what it was, a continued need to prove myself, to showcase my success. Instead, I suggested meeting first at a neutral location, a seafood restaurant halfway between the airport and my villa. The moment they walked into the restaurant was surreal. My father looked older, his once dark hair now silver. My mother seemed smaller somehow, though her eyes lit up when she saw me. Angela trailed behind them, visibly nervous about this reunion. Freddie, my mother said, embracing me tightly, you look wonderful. My father extended his hand formally, then surprised me by pulling me into an awkward hug. Good to see you, son. We settled into an uncomfortable silence as we were seated. 8 years of estrangement created a conversational minefield, so many topics that might trigger old wounds. So, my father finally began. Business is good, obviously. It is, I confirmed. Realtech serves over 12,000 clients now. He nodded, clearly struggling to connect with a business model so different from his own. And it is all online? No physical offices for clients? We have headquarters in San Francisco. But yes, our product is cloud-based. Clients access it from anywhere. The waiter's arrival with drinks provided a welcome interruption. After ordering food, my mother attempted to bridge the gap. Your home looked lovely on television. We had no idea it would be so substantial. That is why I wanted you to come to the housewarming, I said quietly, to see it in person. My father cleared his throat. We should have accepted your invitation. That was an error in judgment on our part coming from him. This near apology was significant. Why didn't you tell us exactly what you had purchased? Angela asked. $7 million, Freddie. That is not just a house. I considered my response carefully. Would it have mattered? For 8 years. My company's growth, funding rounds, industry recognition. None of that was enough to bridge the gap between us. Why would mentioning the price tag of my home make a difference? My father flushed slightly. We followed your company news more than you think. Saw the articles about your funding rounds. Your mother kept a folder. This revelation surprised me. Then, why the continued distance, the missed birthdays, the unreturned calls? Pride, my mother admitted softly. Stubborn, foolish pride. And fear, my father added unexpectedly. Fear that you had outgrown us. That we would become irrelevant to your life. His vulnerability cracked something open in the conversation. For the next 2 hours, we really talked. For the first time in years, they shared how the family business had struggled after I left. How they would finally modernize some systems after seeing younger competitors succeed. I shared the failures and doubts behind my success. The near bankruptcies, the sleepless nights, the loneliness of building something without family support. By dessert, we had established a fragile but real connection. Not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. A foundation to build upon. Are you ready to see the house? I asked, as we finished our meal. The drive along the Pacific Coast Highway was quiet, each of us processing the conversation. As we rounded the final curve, revealing the villa perched on the cliffside, I heard my mother gasp. The afternoon sun reflected off the glass walls, making the structure shimmer against the blue backdrop of sky and ocean. "My God," my father murmured as we pulled into the gated driveway. The tour was different than the one I had given HGTV cameras. More personal. I showed them my favorite reading spot on the covered deck. The kitchen drawer specifically designed for my collection of specialty teas. The guest rooms I would mentally assign to each of them, though I had never expected them to visit. In my office, my father stood silently staring out at the ocean view. "You could see the horizon changing from here," he said finally. "Watch trends coming before anyone else." It was a perfect metaphor for our different approaches to business, and for the first time, he seemed to understand mine without judgment. That evening, we had dinner on the deck, watching the sunset paint the sky in spectacular oranges and pinks. The conversation flowed easier now, lubricated by fine wine and the undeniable beauty surrounding us. "I need to say something," my father announced as we finished dinner. He set down his glass deliberately. "I was wrong, Freddie. Not just about declining your invitation, but about everything. About trying to force you into a mold that didn't fit. About punishing you for choosing differently." My mother reached for his hand, tears in her eyes. "We both were. We let our disappointment blind us to your success. Can you forgive us?" The question hung in the air between us. Could I? The hurt had been deep, the years of rejection damaging. But sitting there, watching them attempt to bridge the chasm between us, I realized something important. Holding on to resentment would only continue the cycle. "I can," I said finally, on one condition. They waited expectantly. "We start fresh. No more comparing paths or choices, no more expectations about what my life should look like. Just acceptance of what is." "Agreed," my father said immediately. "No conditions. We weren't magically healed. Years of estrangement don't disappear overnight." But as they stayed for a week, then extended to 10 days, something shifted. My father asked thoughtful questions about Realtek's technology. My mother relaxed enough to joke about how my success had forced them to reconsider their Stone Age business practices. Angela and I reconnected over late-night conversations about our different but equally valuable paths. By the time they left, we had established new boundaries and new connections. We weren't the same family we had been too much, but perhaps we could be something different, yet still meaningful. In the months that followed, our reconciliation continued gradually. My parents modernized Harrison Properties with some of Realtek's solutions. I visited Massachusetts quarterly, no longer feeling like a failure or deserter when I walked through my hometown. We established new traditions, holiday video calls, birthday acknowledgments, genuine interest in each other's lives. The experience transformed me in unexpected ways. The validation I would sought for so long, the driving force behind my $7 million purchase, turned out to matter less than the authentic connections rebuilt in its wake. The house that began as a statement became instead a gathering place, a neutral ground where new memories could be formed. Perhaps most meaningfully, The experience inspired me to establish the New Horizons Foundation, providing scholarships and mentorship to young people caught between family expectations and personal aspirations. The Foundation's first initiative funded 20 scholarships for students pursuing non-traditional paths in their family industries: technology, training for children of craftspeople; sustainable farming education for children of industrial farmers; creative arts for children of pragmatic business owners. I have come to understand that true success isn't measured in property values or company valuations. It is not found in proving others wrong or right. It lives in the courage to chart your own course while maintaining the connections that matter most. It is about building bridges rather than burning them, even when that means being the first to extend an olive branch. My $7 million villa still stands on that Malibu cliff, still impresses visitors with its views and amenities, but its true value has nothing to do with its price tag. Its worth lies in what it taught me about myself, about family, and about the complex relationship between success and happiness. If you are facing a similar crossroads, torn between family expectations and personal dreams, remember that different paths don't have to mean permanent divides. Sometimes the longest journeys can lead you right back home, just with a broader perspective and wiser heart. Life is too short and too precious to let pride stand between you and the people who matter. Whether you are the one who left or the one left behind, consider reaching across that divide. You might be surprised by what you find on the other side. What dreams are you pursuing that others might not understand? How have you balanced family expectations with personal aspirations? Leave a comment below, sharing your experience. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more journeys of reconciliation and growth. And remember to share with someone who might need to hear that success on your own terms is still success worth celebrating. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you courage on whatever path you are traveling.